Hello, this is Toni Moore of LegallyChic360.com. I just want to thank you so much for joining this class and this information that I wanted to provide with regards to trademarks. So many people ask me about trademark. Can I trademark this? Can I trademark that? And I'm like, of course, let's see whether or not you can trademark according to the rules. First things first, I want you to know the important key areas with regards to trademark. Trademark is not something like it's a tagline that you just love, and you don't want anyone to use it. You know, trademarks are identifiers of a product or services. So oftentimes when you're thinking of trademarks, you think about Nike, they were trademarks of their shoe brand, and Apple trademark of their computer and software brand. Timex, trademark of their watches. You feel what I'm saying? Like Remax, trademark of, services, because there's a trademark and then there's a service mark. And so there's like over 45 different classes. I'm not going to go into detail. I do have a trademark guide. If you should want it, just go to LegallyChic360.com and just pull the Handle Your Business guide and ask more questions about the trademark guide. But I definitely want to give you as much information as you can so that you can make an educated decision, because you can't be savvy if you don't know the basics of the rules. So the trademark, as I said before, it's definitely an identifier of a marketplace, meaning that you get money for it. Remember the woman who said eyes on fleek and everybody was like faith on fleek and fleek this and fleek that? Well, guess what? She was just saying it became very popular, but it wasn't a trademark. It wasn't something that she used in her trade or business. It didn't identify like a service. If she did eyes on fleek with regards to, I don't know, like mink lashes, you see how that would be a trademark because it would be an identifier of a product that she has in the marketplace and she's making money for it. Remember, trademarks, service marks, those are all identifiers to allow other people, the consumers, to be like, oh, I see. Like for instance, Legally Chic, that is a registered trademark and it's in one of the service classes, the 45 service class, because I use it to provide legal services and strategies, right? And so think about the mark that you want to use and ask yourself, is it something that I use in a trade or business? Is it something that identifies my business service? Before you spend the money, before you do anything else. Because I'm stressing this because I know it's seemingly there's a movement where coaches like, oh, just trademark, or they'll put a TM on everything. And then people get really upset when someone is using their trademark in their trade or business, and then they turn around and register it. So first things first is important to know that you need to use it in a service or business for a fee, right? The second thing you need to know is to make sure that your trademark is not used by someone else. I know. Everyone thinks that they're the most unique people, like no one else is using their trademark or their service mark, and it's so clear and unique. Well, it's clear and unique when it's fanciful, when you make stuff up. I love when people make stuff up. When you make stuff up, it could be a completely mismatch. It's something that people do not understand or appreciate, or like a mismatch with regards to whoever thought about Apple being for, computer services or telephone. So, or mishmash, something fanciful like Kleenex. Now, when you come up with something mishmash and fanciful and so different that no one else is using it, you oftentimes have a problem because you have to establish a brand and you have to get brand recognition. So you're going to have to go above and beyond. First, you got to get people to understand and appreciate what it is. And then you have to make sure that that people come back to you. So that's one thing that they have to know. Naming is everything. But before you ever name, I want you to always understand one thing and one thing only. It has to be unique to you and your one of 45 classes. So there's a lot of people right now who are moving on the move for a t-shirt brand. But let me just tell you, originally the t-shirt trademark is not something that people run over to trademark world and say, oh, I don't want someone to capture my t-shirt. The t-shirt is really about a logo, or think of it more like fashion branding, okay? So when you're thinking of it, say, let me think of something that a lot of people are using right now. I don't know, something womanly that a lot of people are using right now, purse power, right? So purse power, I've seen it. There's a couple of people who are using purse power. There's a group that's using purse power. They're using it for purses. They're using it for services. They're using it for workshops, and they're using it for financial services, business services, workshops, and t-shirts. So with regards to that purse power, then we know that it's a descriptive of something, but you can't be so descriptive that it's something that is kind of hard to make it your own, because ultimately when you're dealing with trademarks, we really care about them when they're exclusive to you, where if I see the name, I'm like, oh, that's such and such. Or if I see the logo, I'm like, oh, that's such and such. Or if I hear have a Coke and a smile, you pretty much know who that came from. So when you're thinking about the slogans, first you got to ask, is someone using it? Now there's this one group that call themselves Kinky by Nature, and it is definitely a product. But I know that once upon a time there was something else, another group called Nappy by Nature, and then I had talked to the Kinky by Nature people, and they're like, yeah, we're gonna do t-shirts like Naughty by Nature. And I'm like, here's the thing. When you're doing a trademark, you have to make sure that it's, even if it's clear or similar to someone else's, it doesn't confuse the marketplace, because the naming is everything. First, you got to check the name. And when I say check the name, I want you to check the name on, go to uspto.gov, check to see if it's available. Go on domain search, check to see if it's available. Check to see if it's available in your state, because there's a lot of people who do not register a federal trademark, but they'll register in their home state for whatever reason. I don't know, because in this global economy, the best thing to ever do is to just pay the money and get it federally registered. Besides, that protects you across the board, right? Always remember, when it comes to trademark, always remember Burger King's not the first Burger King. They just didn't register their brand. Someone else was inspired, and then they turned around and registered Burger King. So the Burger King in their little quadrant zone, they can continue doing business as long as they want to do business, but they could never expand out because someone else registered Burger King. So always remember that. So when you're thinking about it, think of the name, make sure that it's something that is fanciful, not descriptive, like Black woman create. That's kind of hard. It's kind of hard to keep other people from using Black woman create. You want to be something like Blackonomics. You know what I mean? That's pretty hot right there, because, okay, it's descriptive because the Black is in it. Economics, we put it together, and it's something that you can put on a Google alert and see whether or not someone is using it in your trade or business in the class that you're doing. Also, with regards to it, you also want to see whether or not, there's Facebook groups out there who's using it. Also want to see if there's a Facebook page. And more importantly, try to see if there's .com, because in my world, it's either .com or .nothing. So if there's someone who's got the .com, there's someone who's doing the Facebook group or page, and there's someone who's registered it, now you at least know that you're not as unique as you thought you were. The next thing you have to question as to whether or not you want to share it. There's a lot of people who are sharing their trademarks. For instance, I have Legally Chic, and it's for the legal services. But there's a woman in Italy who uses Legally Chic over in Italy as a fashion blogger. She's even have Legally Chic as a Facebook page, so I couldn't use it. So my brand became legallychic360.com. And on Facebook, it's Legally Chic 360 because there was already someone out there. Also, another woman was very popular. Her name is Marsha Evans Daniels, and she rocks Godfidence, right? She has 15 other brands as well, but Godfidence is something that we all know. And so she's got it in a certain amount of class. And then there's another group who's got Godfidence in several other classes, and then someone else. So she shares it with 2 other brands. So I need you to understand that even if someone else is using your name, and even if someone else has the .com, but you really, really want it, that's when you really have to talk to an attorney to find out whether or not you could still use it. Okay? Because if you can still use it, then by all means use it. But I also tell people about the story about when I really, really thought Dreamility was mine. I mean, who's thinking about Dreamility, right? And so lo and behold, I went to trademarksrus.com, some group online, and I paid for the attorney service. But guess what? They didn't protect my assets, because one thing that they did is that they just checked to see if it was a direct hit. They didn't look to see if Maybe not just a direct hit, but something that sounds familiar as well. Because even that's what USPTO is going to do. Because I have a client right now who's going through something like that, where their name sounds familiar and they're in the same class. So as her attorney, we have to now go to the USPTO and distinguish ourselves and show ourselves worthy of getting the trademark that she wants and registering it. Because ultimately, we're trying to establish that it's exclusive to who she is. Now, I know there's a lot of people who are probably author, speakers, and coaches as well. And there's always a question with regards to, can I trademark my book because I really don't want no one else to use it? Well, here's the thing. Always think of when you want to trademark your book title because you really don't want other people to use it, you have to think about the rule of three. You have to at least do a series of 3 with the same name. For instance, I always use Harry Potter. You saw Harry Potter. There's Harry Potter, so many different chapters of Harry Potter, but each of the names have the Harry Potter design. It says Harry Potter, and then it's 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever. And with regards to other book series, think about book series. So you can't pick and choose, I'm going to be Harry Potter today, and then I'm going to be the exhibits of Harry Potter. No, no, no. When you're dealing in trademark world, naming is key. You have to be very specific because you're dealing with attorneys who are like, they're not as dreamy as we are. They just are clear and concise, and they're almost robotic. So you have to make sure that what you say you do, your proof of use, establishes that you really are using it in the marketplace for money. So they will go and look at your Facebook page. They will go and look at your website. They will go and see if you have marketing or workshops or whatever you say you're using, you have to use it. And one of my clients, we had to establish that on her Amazon, all we needed was a screenshot, but we also showed that she had like 4 different titles with her name in it. So we ultimately got that information, and it was protected for her. Now, I know some people are like, but I really like my name and I really don't want people to use it. Let me just say, once again, copyright, a lot of people, they copyright the designs and they copyright the contents of their book. But like I said, if you want your name to be a brand, then you have to understand and appreciate not all brands are protectable. Like on my women's empowerment side, I'm always like, boss up with Toni Moore, boss up this, boss up program, boss up mastery. You know what I mean? Boss up, boss up, boss up. But when I tried to trademark Lady Boss, Girl Boss took over. And Boss Up is used so many times. It's really hard. It's kind of cute. People know I established myself. I do Boss Up radio a lot. But there's other people who's got their mouth on it. So if you have a very popular brand with your mouth on it, then you got to ask yourself, do you really want to put a ring on that? Do you really want to put a ring on that name? Because you pretty much have to marry it. And you can't marry something that's not committed because everyone's got their name on it. Everyone's got their mouth on it. Also, I have a client and they're establishing groups and their organizations and all this stuff. But I'm like, you really have to trademark your brand, because if you don't trademark your brand, then you're going to be deemed as running naked. You don't want that to happen. Like, what do you mean you're running naked? Well, that means that everyone else got their name on it. Everyone else is using it. And there is no agreement in place that's going to make it yours. So if everyone else got their mouth on it, everyone else is naming themselves and using their name, and you don't have like a trademark licensing agreement, how can you protect? Because here's the thing, and I really want you to understand this. You can't stop anyone from using what you say is yours if you can't stop anyone from using what you say is yours if they're already using it. Now, you can set up Google alerts and see whether or not they're using it and trying to expand it and encroach upon once you register it. But before you register, prior to registration, it's whatever, come what may. If someone's using it, someone's using it. So what I'm going to do is stop right here, and I'm going to just present a slideshow with regards to just some trademark specifications, because I know sometimes when it's good to hear me and see me talking, but sometimes it's good to just see this PowerPoint slide with regards to trademarks. And then I'll come back and offer you an opportunity to learn more about Legally Chic 360 and what we do. Alrighty, thank you so much, and I'll be right back. So as I said before, the trademark is also a trademark is for a product. Their service mark is for a service, and the registered mark is after you have registered your trademark, whether it's a trademark or a service mark. And then after several months, about 9 months to a year, you do get the registered mark, the big R, the big ring. So registration is not mandatory. If you're going to use the common law protection, use the TM or the SM registration.
The TM is for, again, the trademark, and the SM is for the service mark if you're an author, speaker, coach. And it is common law protection, but it only protects you really in your state. So if you want more than that, then register it. So before you start using anybody's name, I want you to remember to do the domain search. Go to the Secretary of State records, go to uspto.gov, do a hashtag search, do a social media search, and yes, even do a Facebook group search. And also go to Amazon, because usually if someone is writing a book, they're probably going to talk about it in their speeches, and they'll probably do a tour or something like that. Okay? So that's a biggie. You always have to look at that because there is a common law protection. So when you are deciding, oh, I'm going to register it, remember, you don't necessarily want a descriptive trademark. It's so descriptive that the pink pen that, you don't want that. You want something that, even a suggestive one like this legally chic, that's suggestive. It's giving you an idea. Fanciful, we like that because it's a little more fancy. It's something that you probably had to make up. Arbitrary, like Apple, or something brilliantly branded. That's something I came up with. So, first things first, if you're doing it yourself, go to this trademark search right here. Okay? And then, so ultimately, you must do the research, design the mark, select the class, reserve your basis for use, establish proof of use, register your trademark, monetize your trademark, and protect your trademark. Okay? So research, 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 design, make sure it's not cutting and pasting and copying someone else's. Select the class that you're using it in. Okay? It's 45 different ones. So hopefully that was good. Thank you.
So, hopefully that was good information for you. Hopefully you learned about the 5 keys to trademarking your brand, whether it's a name, a catchphrase, a slogan, or a logo. Definitely feel free to contact me. Definitely feel free to grab the trademark cheat sheet so that you can also use that for your endeavors, whether or not you use me or someone else. Definitely be mindful of the fact that your trademark is everything because it represents who you are and all that you do. And of course, you want to be distinctive. You want to own it. You want to name it, claim it, slay it, but you also need to protect it because sometimes there's always the imitators, the duplicators, and the regulators to seeing whether or not you're encroaching upon someone else's trademark. So hopefully this was good information for you, and hopefully we'll talk soon.